Hi, and welcome to Criminal Justice in a Nutshell. My name is John Fisher, and today's episode is called Missions and the Roles of the Police and the Foundations of the Police. In this episode, we're going to talk about the creation of the police force, not only around the world, but in the United States. Now, the policing system has, well, some could say it had a very long history. Others could say that the history of policing is not that long. Policing, as in the primitive sources and resources, we found what's called the constable or the night watch system. The constable or night watch system. This was established in 1066 by William the Conqueror. And what he did was he said that policing was only required, or they hired police officers to patrol the neighborhoods and to patrol the communities only during the nighttime hours while everybody was asleep. During the daytime, it was believed that everybody in the community had the community's best interest at heart, and what they would do is, as a community, they would protect the community from crime. While everybody was asleep, they needed somebody to walk the streets and watch the streets, and they would make what's known as a hue and cry. If there was an emergency or if there was a situation that came up, they would make a hue and cry. Every person in the community was required to patrol as needed. People would go on a 2 to 4 hour shift throughout the night, and you are obligated to participate in helping ensure that the community was safe. If something did come up, if there was a fire, or if there was a robbery or a murder or something happened, the night watchman would send out a hue and cry. And every able-bodied man in the community would grab his gun and come to the aid, or his sword, and come to his aid to help address the emergency that the community was facing. Well, it evolved to where people could start paying someone to take their place. You know, I had a really rough day today putting in fence, and I'm really tired and I don't feel like getting up to do my 4 hours. Hey Joe, can you cover me for tonight? I'll pay you 6 pence or whatever the going rate was. And that eventually evolved into what was known as the Shire Reef. And the Shire Reef in England was the precursor to what we see as the sheriff today. He was paid by the community to enforce the law, to make sure that the community was safe from harm. He was allowed to hire as many deputies as he felt necessary or that he desired to hire. And in that process, what he did and what happened was that he would also end up collecting taxes for the county and the shire, or the Cambridgeshire or Huntingdonshire, the counties that were in England are known as shires. So in the United States, they're known as counties, but the Shire Reef, or the sheriff, would go about collecting taxes and enforcing the laws of the specific communities. Well, this lasted in England until 1829. In 1829, we had a change in the way that things happened. And there was a man by the name of Sir Robert Peel. He was a nobleman. He established the very first municipal professional police department. And these police officers in England, the Roberts boys, eventually became known as bobbies. They are not armed, they do not carry weapons, or until recently they didn't carry weapons. I remember when I lived in England, you know, the bobbies were always around. They were friendly, they were kind. They would talk to you as if you were a member of their own family, a member of the community, somebody that was important to them. Okay. And they seemed to have a sincere concern or a sincere attitude towards what they were supposed to be doing as a individual, as a member of the community. One of Robert Peel's principles, he had 9 principles, and these 9 principles is what established what policing was all about. And the most important principle was that the people are the police and the police are the people. You cannot operate a police department without the cooperation of the police. And how Robert Peel measured a successful police department was not on their response time and not on how many arrests that they made from day to day or from year to year or however. How they measured an effective police department is the absence of crime. Granted, yes, I know it is impossible to ever believe that there would be no crime at all, because there's always going to be some crime. But if you have a shooting, a murder, a rape, a fight, an assault, a burglary every single day, you've got a problem in your community. And that community is most likely the police. Okay, I know that there's a lot of people that are running around, they want to protect the police department. But according to Robert Peel, if you don't have the cooperation of your community, crime is going to go up. And it's going to continuously go up. Okay, well, this turned around, and in the 1830s, in the late 1830s, the city of Boston, the United States, had a series of 4 major riots, to where they were rioting over pay, they were rioting over work and safety and all kinds of things. And the community and the city founders of Boston, Massachusetts, in 1838 established the very first uniformed police office or police department here in the United States. They wore a navy blue coat and a navy blue pant. They looked a lot like the military, and they had copper buttons. They had 7 copper buttons on their blouse, and they had 9 copper buttons on their trousers. And these copper buttons, these police officers were known as coppers, and now they're just known as cops. Even though they don't wear the blue wool uniforms anymore, they don't have the copper buttons anymore, we still call them cops. So if anybody tries to tell you that cop means or stands for anything else, they're lying to you. Okay, so the police departments were established and they were created in a way to restore order, to keep peace, and to keep crime to a minimum in the city. It later became the people found that the police department was a convenient tool to control those people that they really didn't want to deal with, such as controlling traffic, dealing with lost children, looking for runaways, dealing with and managing the drunks. And Jacob's wanting to share his picture with you. Oh, let's come over here so he can share his picture. Yay, isn't that cool? Okay, so we turn around and the policing has evolved throughout all of the years to where we now have 2 primary focuses, or 2 primary, wow, that is so cool. Yeah? Okay, we have 2 primary focuses of policing in America today. We have proactive policing and we have reactionary policing. Okay, reactive policing is what we find in Big Spring. It's where the police officers respond to calls. From the time they get on shift to the time they leave shift, all they do is respond to one call after another. Okay, they really don't have enough time to do anything else. What preventive policing is, or proactive policing, is a police department that is dedicated to preventing crime. It's dedicated to looking for those problems within the community and addressing the symptoms of crime before they become a problem. And if the thought is, if you can address the problem or the symptoms of crime before they become criminal, your crime rate will go down, your trust of the public will increase, and we'll have a happy, safe community that is not reacting to crime all the time and is spending time. Yes, sir? Yeah, that's nice. Oh, you want to see on the picture? Yeah, that's Jacob. It sure is. Hi. So come over here and go, hi. Okay, so Daddy's working, buddy. Okay, so we sit here and we find ourselves needing a community-oriented policing or a problem-oriented policing in the needs and desires to ensure that the community becomes a better place. After 9/11, we have found where we're not really interested in proactive policing. We're interested in ensuring that terrorism does not happen again. So I do want to thank you for joining me today in Criminal Justice in a Nutshell and the roles of policing. Have a good day.